of your head, make a better life instead. You gotta give it all your best. So put
Hello
your hands
Internet,
up
this
to
is
the
Marko
sky and live your
Yamashita.
best life.
I apologize for being so late. I have not done live streaming in such a long time that my setup just was not working. So I'm glad I got everything going here. So we're gonna do take 2 on this. Hopefully things will stick much better than how they were the first time around. So, and I'm actually kind of glad that I got things back up and running, because right now we are just literally 2 minutes away from the opening bell here. As I have explained a few other times to other people, my this particular feed that I'm using through the trade viewer, it's as close to live as I could possibly get it. There's only about a minute delay between when action happens on the stock market in Tokyo versus it showing up on this chart here. So we are... Dennis, welcome to the chat. Welcome. I'm glad that you stopped in here. We are just waiting for Hololive stock to start moving here. We are literally less than 2 minutes away from the opening of the exchange for today there. The information you see on screen right now, there is about a minute delay between when it reports on screen here versus when the transaction occurred over on the Tokyo exchange. The metrics and the components that you see on screen here below it, we have the relative strength index, tells us whether or not there is how the momentum is of the stock, if it's being bought, or if it's going weak and being sold. The metric here that we have below the actual candlesticks here, this is the bull bear metric, which green means that it's it's a bull market, and red means, of course, that it's a bear market. And the one that below that is the on balance of volume. That tracks volume, the amount of stocks that are being sold or bought for each particular candlestick here. These are probably, these are the best ones to probably monitor, in my opinion, for what we're doing right now. So, yeah, we are just the market just opened. The little green light here just went off here. So and our first candlestick came in right there, and they are already gapping up. So that is a positive sign here. Now I want to stress this, that for any color, when they had a squeeze on their particular stock after their annual report, that squeeze happened in about an hour into trading. So it might take a little bit of time here. I'm going to add the Bollinger Bands here so we can kind of watch that as well. Let's look at how the stocks are moving relative to each other. We have one over there. Ooh, look at that. There's a lot of selling that's going on over on any color right now. I'm actually wondering if they put I'm actually wondering if they put a halt on their stock, because it has not moved. And it wouldn't be the first time. If there is an unusual amount of volume that kicks off that's larger than 10%, The Tokyo Stock Exchange can put a halt on trading. Let's see here. Let's back out a little bit here. Because it has not moved past this first candle. And this first candle is only at 33.90. Okay, I am going to do a little bit of sleuthing here in the background here while the chart is up, because I want to see if there is any news on the Nikkei that if it's been stopped or what is going on. Let's go to the Nikkei hasn't said anything yet. They are reporting that cover has hit a new high, but it looks like it's been completely stopped. Okay, let's check the Tokyo Stock Exchange. Okay, so we're at the 12th. Yeah, there was one candle that the Nikkei picked up as well. So let's check the Tokyo Stock Exchange. I really do not like their site because it feels so cumbersome when you're trying to find something on there. Yeah, let me just make sure it's not my now relaunch it. Nope, it's still stuck there. Has action been halted? No, it doesn't say action's been halted. Ooh, hoo, hoo. See, what I find interesting is that any color gapped lower and the cover gapped higher. These lines here are the the relative indexes that they trade on, and let me just remove those here real quick, and we'll check. Tokyo Stock Exchange. Let's see, products, stops, where's stops? Equities, debts, funds, listings, stocks. I don't know if this is considered organized on their end, but it does not. I am not a fan of their the way that they have things laid out. I don't see anything right there yet. Is it a good investment? So, what I can tell you for right now, and this is, me speaking as somebody who has invested in both companies. Both companies have been extremely profitable. they hit their low here in May, and since that low here in May, they have gained 126%. And to give you an idea, I have owned their stock throughout this entire process. So, and you have to buy 100 stocks at a time. So you take that 126 and you multiply it by 100. That's about what all I can tell you, right? Personally, but they are definitely a strong stock, and people actually don't give any color enough credit, because they are actually a fair amount of competition for what's that? They are a strong competition as a competitor for them. Knight, welcome to the chat. I'm glad to see you here. Welcome. I am trying to find. Okay, there it is. Trade halts. I'm trying to find whether or not there's been a trade halt that placed on cover. And there's been no trade halt announced on their website. On the Tokyo Exchange website. The Nikkei recorded one candlestick before it dropped off. So let's see here. But the management, sorry. But the management and view count of the new talent aren't. Oh, well, the fact that the last couple of generations that were debuted came in and they were able to hit so strongly and be able to essentially gather a following as quickly as they have has been nothing short of amazing. When before Fuamoko debuted over at Hololive, I followed them before that when in their past life, and they always had a strong following even then, and it people didn't actually start recognizing how amazing they were until their graduation stream. So as soon as they debuted the way they did, everyone knew it was them, and and we couldn't have been happier. There has been a steady amount of growth that has happened with each generation that has come out from their recruiting, and I think part of it has to do with the fact that they tend to screen really well, and I think there's been there's definitely a how should I say, there has been a learning gap that Cover has been able to. Niji Sanji. Well, Niji Sanji, their situation is actually a little different, and that kind of leads into what I was about to say. Niji Sanji, there has been, I think, a learning gap that they haven't been able to cross quite yet, of how they want to run things, and then how the American culture, the English culture, especially this generation, how they perceive the work that they're trying to do, or the work that they are trying to, get from the talent. And I just have not. I have not seen a single. I have not seen a single thing. I mean, it's obviously halted, but usually they post. They have a posting up saying why it's halted. The major problem I see with Niji Sanji right now is they have a lack of cohesion, and they have a lack of a process that links them to the company, as opposed to the company just expecting them to act like any other talent that they hire. And until they learn that particular fact, and they're able to adapt in order for them to gel between their what they expect and what the talent they hire expect, there's gonna be that problem, and a lot of the talent has actually been rather abrasive in the many aspects, and I think Niji Sanji probably hired them because their personality was so different that they thought that it would make for an attraction for them to come out, but it just blew right up in their face, and it's going to continue happening until they hire. Their hiring practices are better. Now, I have checked practically everywhere, and I have not seen a single notification saying that their stock price is halted. But if we look at the market here, the Tokyo Stock Exchange is moving. The Nikkei is moving. There has been some movement on any color, but it also looks. There's been movement on any color. There's a new candlestick right here, but they have. The only thing I can think of is that there was so much volume that was packed into the beginning of this trading period that they automatically halted trading. And that would not be out of the ordinary as well, because if they allowed it to go through, it probably would have gone 50 close to 3,500, close to maybe even 4,000. That's the only thing I can think of, because there is absolutely no other information out there that says that that they have put a halt on their trading. And if that is actually the case, it is going to be something that that's going to fall through for tomorrow, and we're going to see we're gonna see, that just how much, how much they've actually put a halt to. Because I believe that the rules of the market are, if it's above 10%, then the brakes get put on. So I am guessing that there is probably a lot of volume past 10%. But what we can do in the meantime, and just to give it a little bit longer of a chance to either start moving or call it a day. We'll look at a few other things here. Now, when people talk about how well their revenue is at that where it came in, we're actually kind of lucky here that we have places that provide us with the metrics of where the sales came from. Oh, they're moving. Oh, okay, so they gapped down. They gapped down hard. Whew. So I suppose that they finally decided to just let it go. And if we look at the numbers up here, the volume, the amount of volume that's being tossed around is, to gap down that low, that there was upwards of 8 million that was probably traded all at the same time. Yeah, because this bear, actually, you know what? Let's I can add that indicator. We'll add the volume indicator. Oh yeah, look at that. There was. There was 373, 380, 400, 400,000, 45. Now, the reason why they're gapping down in this particular instance is because the short traders realize that the volume of stocks that are going to be bought for the rest of today are going to be higher, and since they are they're trading short, they're trying to sell high and then buy back low. So the only way they can do that is for other short traders to dump all their stocks at a discount, and then they basically start buying back the stocks that they borrowed at that discount, so they can give it back to the institution that they borrowed it from and hopefully make a profit. So there is going to be, like I said, a lot of volatility here, and there's going to be a lot. I felt that they were either going to gap up immediately or that they were going to gap down. Now, it's not necessarily a bad thing that they're gapping down right now, or that they're trading this much lower, because the forecasted price for Cover Corporation is still well within the range that they're at, and there is going to be a lot of pressure that's going to be pushing their price back up here. Now, there can be the case that could be made that all the people that buy on margin or selling short, they could completely dump and exit out of the stock itself, which wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing, because that leaves the opportunity for people who are mid to long term investors to turn around and buy the stock at a discount, and that is kind of what we're looking at right now. What you end up seeing is, like, and I'm looking at the numbers here on the side as well. Their stock has fallen below any color right now, and they were neck and neck. So basically, right now we're gonna see a lot of buying and selling at the same time, where the short traders are gonna try to get that lowest number possible, so they can they can still make a profit off of it. But then those stocks end up being snatched up by other people, which has the potential to push the stock back up. So we're going to see this kind of bouncing back and forth, and we're even seeing it right now where it's bouncing between 27 to 28. Right now there's a lot of pressure that's coming in and trying to push it back up. So it's not a worrying sign yet that the stock has opened up 17% lower. And it's not that there is a lot of bad juju going on there. So but let's look at a few other things while the market is doing its thing here. A lot of people, if you watch my channel on a regular basis, you'll hear me refer to Cover Corporation as a cyclical stock. And part of what that is, as you can see here, you have your 4 quarters, and they're all broken up in between each other here. Now, Cover Corporation has only been in the public the public trading system for this is their 3rd year, so there's not a lot of data sets to go by. But even with the data sets that we have here between the 2023 to 2025, you can see that there are trend lines that match up as you go along. And one of the trend lines goes up here. This is where their annual report gets filed. If you look back over here, we're seeing where their Q3 report has been filed. You track along here, you can see that August is typically a bad month in general for trading. They kind of call it like a dead zone, because all the companies have done their annual reports already, and there is like a 2 to 4 month gap before you start having the next physical quarter reported upon. And then of course you see that the stocks typically trend up as you get closer to December. So this is how cyclical stocks work. It is relatively reoccurring on a regular basis, so you can kind of get the feel of how things come about with that. Man, they have really dropped down. They're at 17%. Wow. That's pretty crazy that they've opened up this low. But so let's switch windows here real quick. I want to show you. Let's which window here? Okay, so okay, so we're gonna go over here. And we're gonna go to credit balance here. Okay, and we're gonna go here. Okay. So let's switch windows here, minimize you a little bit. Alright, so we're gonna keep track on them, but I want you guys to be able to see this one here. Okay, so this is Yahoo Japan, and as we see here, we have this table here. This table here is on a weekly basis. The Japanese stock market does a report on the amount of stocks that have been bought and sold that are still out there, that people bought as a short-term trader. And as we can see here, there was a lot of stocks that were being held on to. There was about an even number of them that have that were sold back to their respective security lender. But there was still a large amount of pool out there that had not finished getting cycled through yet. If we look at the numbers of shorts that have had transactions over the last several days here, you can see that there was a late amount of buying leading up to the stock report or the earnings report for today. And this is kind of different than how it was for their Q2 report, because the Q2 report had almost I think it was like 10 days worth of transactions where people were able to buy shorts to lead up to the report, and that's why their stock went so high. Whereas here, there were a lot of people that bought shorts late, and they were anticipating what we're seeing right now, which is essentially that there would be a large amount of selling off here initially, instead of buying. Let's see here. Let's get this back up here. So what we're seeing right now on the chart here, momentum has definitely shifted from a stock that was a must buy and to right now people are basically trying to clear their assets out and sell for as much as they can and then hopefully buy back lower. So I have a sneaky suspicion that at least for the AM part of trading for cover core, we're probably going to see them be in the red throughout the first part of the trading day. Now, the Tokyo Exchange is actually kind of unique, where they actually have an hour gap for lunch break. If you trade on the New York Stock Exchange or the NASDAQ or anything like that, I mean, it just basically goes throughout the entire day. There's no actual break for lunch. But what we end up seeing a lot of times is we end up seeing that all the selling happens at the beginning of the trading day, and then people break for lunch, and then when they come back, they seem to be in a buying mood, so they start buying. Whether or not that actually happens is a different matter. But I actually felt that there were going to be one of two situations where they were going to immediately gap up and then hit the breaker of surpassing 10%, or that they were going to gap lower because people are going to dump their stocks as quickly as possible. Now, it's kind of a question that was asked of me earlier in the day here. I was talking to another VTuber about they had her and her brother had invested into a another company, and they were in kind of the same situation that we're seeing here right now, where there was a lot of the price was rocketing, just like how covers was, and it hit a certain amount, and they're like, they didn't quite understand what was going on. So me trying to talk to them in Japanese was a little hard to convey what was going on, but they got the gist of it, and they were like, well, isn't that bad for the company to get that high priced, and there's there's nowhere else for it to go? And and that's what I explained to them, that's exactly kind of the type of a behavior that you get with short trading, whereas you hit that ceiling, and once you hit that ceiling, everything basically comes back down, and they make their profit. So and in their case, they saw a gradual degradation of the stock price, as opposed to what we're seeing here, where there was a massive collapse of it. Now, we do have to preface this is that this was kind of in my opinion, that this was kind of an action that was in the making. Not that Cover is a bad company or anything like that. It was just that Cover what was overpriced. They were oversold, or they were overbought, and that the price was too high. And the reason why I say it in that fashion goes back to what I had been talking about before, with them missing their mark here of earnings per share. And the stock itself, the value was out there, but when you start looking at the fundamentals and the statistics of what the company is and how they operate, there was clearly an overvaluation of the stock itself, in respect to its price. In the video I released earlier today, I talked about how their net margin, after all the expenses are paid for, was it's only about 13 to 14%, and that's what we see here. And if we look at the dates here that date all the way back here to 2023, they have mostly stuck to that area. Now, anything over 10% for a regular company is considered to be okay. You're good. You're not in any danger, right? But Cover Corporation is trying to expand and branch out and do all these different things at once. They have all these different projects going on at the same time, and they have to, they end up having to spend money for it all. what you do, when you're running a business, you gotta hire people, so on and so forth. But the amount of money that is being spent, it's too much. In my opinion, it's too much. That there is not enough give and take between the amount that comes in versus the amount that they're spending. I mean, even if we look at the here's Q3 that ended in 2024, right? Their total revenue, and this is the other thing that really makes me mad about Cover Corporation, because they intentionally make their material misleading, so you cannot find the actual facts of this. All right, the total revenue that they brought in for Q3 it was 11.76 billion yen. Right? Okay, that sounds great. It's better. It's bigger than Q2. It's bigger than Q1. It's bigger than March before that. Hey, so we must be doing okay, right? Well, not exactly, because you have to pay everything here for cost of goods. Which it basically comprises of all their merchandise and sales and everything else like that. And then you have to pay all the people who are selling the goods. You have to pay all the people that are working in the warehouse, so on and so forth. Then you're trying to do all this branching out and development and everything else. So when you come to it, they're spending 9.5 billion of their 11.76 billion yen. And earnings are coming back, and their earnings that they can report. Hey, we made this much money, but then you look at their pocket and you're like, okay, so why are you holding on to so little of what you made? And if we come over here and we compare them to any color. And we come down to their net margin. Anycolor's net margin is trending at between 26 to 30%, and that's twice the amount that they're able to hold on to, twice the amount that Cover Corporation is holding on to, and they're only focusing on in Japan. So it really makes an investor wonder: do you trust your investment into a company that is throwing money all over the place to try to make things grow, or do you buy do you buy shares of a company that is they're proven to be profitable in the country? They have a solid plan on what they intend to do for inside the country. They're not worried about trying to over branch out, and they're refocusing things, and they're reorganizing everything, and so on and so forth. Which one are you gonna put your money in? And then people also start asking the question, okay, well, if you're going to put your money into any color, what's going to be the perk and the benefit of putting my money into any color versus Cover Corporation? Well, right now, as we can see, Cover Corporation is trending downward here because their stock was overvalued and overpriced, and so now they're at a more acceptable level of where people are going to consider to buy again. Whereas when any color comes out and does their report, they can prove that they have a solid plan in place, and even if they aren't hitting the earnings markers, like the EPS, or they're coming up a little bit short on revenue, they're able to prove that the business model is working at the capacity that they want it to. and that they are able to refine the processes in order to either increase their shortcomings, or they're able to make up the deficiencies in a different area. And so that's why we end up seeing any color continue to go up, whereas Cover Corporation, right now they're going down, and it's not because Cover failed. It's because that they were heavily overpriced. I mean, that's why we're seeing volumes of. I mean, this is the reason why they delayed the start of trading for Cover Corp. There was a decrease of volume of 1.34 million shares that were dumped in the first minute that they let trading happen. They Cover base essentially lost 14.5% of their stock value within that first minute. If that tells you anything, and then if you go along here, 623,000 sold off. Then you have another 700,000 sold off. So that would definitely cause a stoppage of trading. But now that their price is down to this point, we can start looking realistically at where their stock could go. They're below the minimum forecast for their respective price that the analysts are looking at. It will probably they will probably creep back up towards the 3,000 mark, solely because they have been able to prove that that they're capable of meeting the specific goals here. Now, the one thing that they have to worry about here when it comes to their last fiscal quarter is that they are expecting to have an even higher earnings per share for Q4, and the only way that they're going to be able to do that is they're going to have to really make a lot of money at their upcoming festival. And I think that's what they're betting on, is that they're gonna make their most amount of money here, either through online ticket sales or people actually attending the event, because right now I would venture to say that they need, they're calling for 3 billion more yen in Q4, which they're likely going to hit, but the amount of earnings per share is going to remain a problem, largely because they have a lot of waste and inefficiencies in their books right now, which is kind of disheartening, because they were largely able to prove, hey, we deserve, we belong, in a top tier type of environment. We're able to make that kind of money, that kind of thing, but I just keep coming right back to this, where they're spending too much. I mean, the trailing 12-month number for operating expenses is 32 billion yen, and they've only brought in 39. That's they gotta do something. You know what I'm saying? But wow, they've dropped down to 20%. That is such a huge plunge. See, all this action here, this is the epitome of what a short squeeze looks like. Right here. That is the epitome of a short squeeze. And when you end up getting a short squeeze like this, if you get to this point where trading actually starts going through, if you have more downs, sells than buys, it tends to stay down there for a while. So, but this is also kind of not unexpected, because if we come back and we look at the seasonal activity of Cover Corporation over the last couple years here, we only have last year to go by, but last year there were already recessionary type of environment that they're operating in. Their economy had shrunk for like 3 or 4 times over, I think, like 9 months or something like that. But that their action in Q3 has typically always been going lower. And we can actually come back and we can look at their income statements here, where you get to Q3. Q3 was a lot weaker than Q2 and Q4. So Q1 weak, Q2 strong, Q3 not as good, and then finish strong on Q4. And if we look at Q1 here, Q1 is an exact mirror of how things went last year, or the last report, where it was an extremely weak report, and then they would have a strong Q2. This time they kind of break the mold a little bit, and they had a relatively strong Q3 compared to the year before. But in a lot of ways that this is actually a good thing, because it really cleans house for Cover Corporation to get rid of a lot of the short traders that have been artificially pumping up their price so it's at a more reasonable level, and then they can slowly buy back up, and then finish off strong for Q4. So it may take another, February, so March. It may take them finishing strong for March, and leading into their new fiscal year, for them to actually get back up to where they were. But if you look at it from the idea that, let's see, when's their next earnings? May 9th. Alright, so basically, if you look at it from the standpoint that, between now and May, that's, 3 months from now, there could be a steady build-up coming up to the last report of the year. We already know that it's been revised upward. So the likelihood that it's going to be a strong report will encourage people to invest into the stock again, and then it'll continue to go higher. Now, switching gears over to Any Color. Any Color is kind of in the same situation, but not nearly as bad. I think in their wheelhouse, people are basically looking at it and saying, okay, the likelihood that they're gonna have the magical numbers that are in the estimates are highly unlikely. So they're looking at percentages of okay, well, how's each segment of the business doing, and then measuring it by segment as opposed to overall. And you don't get the same vibe from Any Color that you get from Cover Core, because Cover Core always feels like they're flying right on the edge of the abyss, and that one little gust of wind can blow them into the abyss, or push them the other way. But as we're seeing right now, I mean, they're already down 20%, just since we began watching them, and I'm pretty sure that they have halted the stock again, because it hasn't moved. It hasn't moved. Well, yeah, there it goes. It's moving a little bit. Yeah, it's still moving a little bit, but they're at 20% right now. So, it's a tough break for people who have invested in Cover Corporation. For me, I hold on. I'm a long-term investor. So for me, investing in Cover Corp and then seeing this, it's kind of like meh, because I know it's gonna go back up. Yeah, it's down 20% right now, but I know that that's the most that they have lost so far, and it's going to go back up. So it's not like I'm actually losing anything, because I've already profited off of them for the last year to begin with. So I mean, to me, it's not a huge deal for it to go down this much. But the fact that I can look at it and see my unrealized gains shrink a certain amount. Yeah, it's kind of it kind of stings, but I wasn't going to cash it in anyways, so there's really no point for me to be all bent out of shape that it's dropped this low. But I also understand the processes that's happening behind the scenes, and that's why I try to explain and help people understand with the processes that happen behind the scenes. So and in fact, that's why I've started talking more and more and more about what's happening with the business side of the things, because I'm learning about it, and I can share what I've learned to other people, and they can understand what people are going on about when they're either ranting or raving about Hololive or Niji or whatever. So, but yeah, all right, guys. I am gonna go ahead and call it a day now, because right now we basically know that that Cover Corporation is gonna sit here at probably 20%, a 20% loss, at least probably until maybe after lunch. But it's probably they're probably not going to get it all back in one session. But if they do, hey, great. If they don't, we know that they have until May to get back up to where they were. So it is what it is, right? So, anyways, I will be starting and working on. I have 2 series of videos I'm working on right now. One is a more in-depth analysis of cover corporations, quarterly report, and then there will be some ad stuff to that, since, especially with the current stock prices and the movements that we're seeing. So that's kind of gonna add a little bit more context into things. The second video series I'm working on is it's partially going to be videos to help hopefully redefine my channel a little bit and provide a little bit more context to things that are going on. For people who are watching who don't know about my health conditions, I do have a number of health conditions that have prevented me from doing more interactive stuff, like playing games and doing those other things. Because I have nerve damage in both of my hands, and I've been rehabbing those right now. So I've being able to learn and do all the video stuff in the background instead has really been helpful for me, because I get to learn how to do it, and then I also get to keep putting out content. So anyways, so I'll be working on those 2 things here for in the near term. Hopefully I'll be able to stream live a little bit more, and maybe toss on, jump on and play some mahjong while chatting with people. That way, hopefully, I can be a little bit more active in person again, as opposed to just constantly being recorded. So, but Dennis, I appreciate the fact that you have stopped in and that you found my channel. I really appreciate it. Feel free to stop by anytime you see me online. My channel is, of course, extremely lenient when it comes to what people talk about in the chat, in the way of I don't make you talk specifically about a topic unless I have laid out the fact that this is a serious thing that we're talking about, and not to stray off the topic. But if I'm like playing a game and you want to mention I don't get bent out of shape when people are talking about other VTubers, because I talk about other VTubers. So to me it doesn't matter. If you want to talk about another VTuber, it may be somebody I haven't seen or watched, and I'll go check them out. To me that's it's a good deal. It's a good gesture of camaraderie to be able to help out another VTuber when someone brings them up to me. So Knight, of course, I always appreciate you dropping in, my friend. I'm sorry I haven't been on nearly as much, but I hope later on here, as my rehab finishes up, that I will at least be able to start doing some games again, because I really enjoy doing my endurance streams at 8 o'clock at night, for me to see if I can finish a game in one setting or 2 settings. So I always appreciate you coming in. To the other people that come in later on, I appreciate you watching the VOD. You guys are always great, and I appreciate the fact that people discover me for my original takes on what's happening with each company from a different perspective. There's a lot of people that are you have to be pro Hololive or pro Niji or anti this or anti that, and I speak plainly about both companies. I can find fault in both companies, and it's not that hard to do it, but it's also hard it's harder for people to accept the reality of situations that no company is perfect. So that is what it is. So anyways, Umberto, I am guessing I missed you, my friend, and I came on too early because you haven't stopped in. I hope you're doing well, my friend. It's always nice to see you. So hopefully I'll catch you on the next live stream. Until then, everyone, thank you so much for dropping in. Whether you've lurked or that you talked on chat, or or you come in late and watch the VOD, I appreciate all of you guys. You guys have made you've made this past year very special for me, because I've been able to grow as a content creator and feel like one for the first time. So I appreciate that. So have a great afternoon, morning, or evening, whatever the case may be for you guys. This is Marko Yamashita signing off. Peace.